All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the February 2025 Park Board meeting. It is 7:04, sorry for the slight delay. Call this meeting to order. For a roll call, tonight we have Ms. Jeannie Vanderman,
Here.
Ms. Kelly Keenum,
Here.
Mr. Doug Spittler,
Here.
and I'm Ryan Schecker. Joe Klatt, Anne Marie, and Kathleen will be out tonight. Kathleen is out sick, so keep her in her thoughts and prayers, please. She unfortunately did have to go to see the doctor today for her medical issues. Everybody please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I neglected to mention, also joining us tonight is Ms. Debbie Hayden from the City Clerk's Office and Mr. Scott Fowler, our Parks Superintendent. We are expecting our Board of Aldermen liaison to join us as soon as they have finished up their special meeting tonight. All right, moving on. Everybody had a chance to see the agenda for tonight? Everybody got a copy of the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
I'll make a motion to approve last month's agenda.
I'll second it.
Tonight's agenda.
I'm sorry, tonight's agenda.
I second it.
Okay. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to approval minutes from January's meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the January minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussions, corrections, things like that? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to public participation. Tonight we do have Georgievich Chiropractic and Equine Veterinary Services, MFF Equine Veterinary Services. If you would come into the,
Dr. Haley DeVries, 724 West Osage Street. Would you like me to proceed as far as going forward with what Dr. DeVries and I were looking at it, and if it were approved through the board to have some trailers brought in?
Or like, kind of almost like a clinic day, a clinic date. Wouldn't be every single day, it would just be kind of several times throughout the year.
okay,
I don't think we would need use of space for the actual arena at Liberty. Maybe the arena for that, or the grassy area in back. We don't need field four specifically. What interested us was field four, was there was and such things like that. So I don't need any of that space, Matt.
good. Event, what's your plan?
Charge.
You know, are you looking for like an all-day thing or a half a day?
I don't know if they're coming to us for care. You know, what's the interest? If it ends up being a half day, I think we'd be interested in that. If they're okay with a full day.
Chiropractic work on horses, but I guess it kind of makes
Yeah.
sense.
I hear that all the time, but yes, yep. It's a thing. I don't know.
Okay,
Quite a common thing.
Yeah.
oh, yeah. And it's, you're looking for this because because horses being larger animals, you just need the space, or what's, is that?
You know, collectively, they would come in and haul into us so we could see and treat more community members and their animals at once versus driving around and going about. So it was kind of a location that was added in for an interest spot, that it was cumulative around a lot of other people.
Okay.
A meeting point per se.
I'm sure that when you fill out the paperwork to reserve the spot for the park,
charging people,
Mhm.
and I didn't
be to cover your expenses, or is it, so just with that, I mean, we couldn't do the,
piece, the arena's more expensive, it's 125, I think it is, if I
Mhm.
remember right.
And I honestly think we'd be in the parking lot more than anything else, to be
Sure.
honest with you.
yeah, that makes kind of a
So I
fun
just wanted
event,
to bring it
actually.
here,
but-
and
Mhm.
you'll have to reach back out to me and
Okay.
with your dates.
Yeah,
So probably spring, summer, fall type thing?
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
Sure.
if it's approved, get with me as soon as you can, because
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know
Make
those
availability.
better you'll all be,
absolutely.
so, okay. Anybody like to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the use of the parking lot area and potentially the field
The front one that you're talking about is 4 right
Okay.
there, yeah.
for the use of,
And a second?
I say,
Any opposed? Get with Mr. Fowler, fill out the form. Success.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And I'll be in touch.
So closing that section and moving on to new, a review of it today for myself. I did not see too much, $785.
Yeah, where we can get the water to go, so we might have to, maybe, we're discussing right now, with make a little bit, so they're aware they gotta test more. So, that's kinda where we're at now, there's gonna be,
and that's for the leak, right? The
well,
leaking,
now, now that all that was about, from what I understand, I'm not 100%, DNR don't allow the water to go into the creek. And now that it's been brought up and it's aware of, it's gonna have to be tested, so there ain't, it's dechlorinated enough, it's, you know, all that.
okay,
So that's what that's
Yeah.
for.
okay.
Every time they backwash, they're gonna have to test the water, which they didn't, you know,
Right.
before they let it loose. But it's just a pit that goes into the line and, crawl down in the creek every time to fill it, you know. Where it shallows up a little bit, it's shallower down there, we're hoping. Should be a lot shallower.
And that we'll have to tap into.
Correct.
Floating diffuser or something?
Do it right there. Going the other day to try to get it to go into the sanitation and, I mean, from base, not even a foot fall.
Yeah,
So
that's not
it's
gonna work.
enough to-
Get it to force main it at that point.
Right.
That's probably a bigger cost than this.
Right, and yeah, if you put some kind of pump in there, you're talking 14 foot deep,
Mhm.
you know. Yeah, it'll be way more expensive than just doing this if that's what we decide to do.
Okay. Any concerns about pump being, or the pit being that close to the creek with any kind of flooding?
No, it'd just be more basically like a concrete pit, you know,
Mhm.
so it won't be,
I guess with flooding, DNR won't have as much of an issue if there is a little extra chlorine getting into the water.
well, there shouldn't be, if we get any flooding like that, I mean, we're probably gonna be shut down, you know,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
I mean, it takes a lot of water to get up to there,
Up to the creek?
up where we put in that pit.
Okay.
You know,
Like you're talking like 2015, 2017
I
flood
don't,
or more?
I don't even think it got there then, to
Okay.
be honest with you.
I know it got
And I
up to that
could be
creek pretty
wrong,
well,
I could
but,
be wrong, but I don't think it did,
okay,
so,
gotcha. And it has its own leach field or something that goes, that it exits and
right.
goes into the creek from there?
Mhm, yeah. Basically the same pipe we'd be using, you know, we'd just be cutting into it,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Is that dechlorination pit, is that something that you need our approval on, or you need to wait until
Yeah,
next
we're-
month?
We'll wait, we're still in the process of figuring it all out, if that's what we're gonna do, or we're gonna try something different, you know?
Okay.
Like I said, last week, Robert and I just went out there and shot grade and realized it's gonna be way too costly and not very efficient, to get clogged up real easy trying to, foot a fall in that distance ain't nothing. So,
No, sir. Okay. Do you expect to have that additional testing to add any more cost to the contract?
I wouldn't think so. I
Minimal at
wouldn't think
most?
so.
Okay. One second.
Sorry. Sorry, we were in another meeting.
Welcome to our Board of our Alderman Liaison, Mr. Cleve.
Thank you.
So, okay. We're talking about the pool contract. If you had a chance to review, or if you need.
I did,
Pass
I
that
did,
one
I've got it. I've got that too.
Okay.
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 On the pool contract, that's something you got.
Yeah.
Here's the, these are just the previous years of what they were, just so you can see the change, which there really isn't much of a change this year from last year. But shows it over since 2020, what we've paid.
And we didn't pay out the full contract amount last year.
We did not, but it was what was presented, I guess, is where I was at, more
Yeah.
than what we paid. I didn't go back and, I mean, because we could have paid technically more than the contract. If they had had overtime, well, I guess maybe we couldn't have. Had to go back and look how it's worded, but no, this is
Sure.
what the contract was.
Okay.
What was
Yeah, that's-
proposed to us, not what we paid.
That's what I was just comparing against from last year as well, so for a total of $1,785 difference between last year and this year.
Mhm.
So, given that, it's about 1.5%-ish, believe, total.
Considering the way everything's gone,
It's not bad at all,
yeah, not bad at all.
so. Okay. Any other comments, concerns, questions on the pool contract? Looked like times and dates and everything else matched up the same as last year, so,
Yeah, all that's the same.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, their hourly rates are the same. Other lifeguards increased by 6 cents an hour.
Yeah, which is odd.
Do you have any comments on it, Mr. Cleve?
No, I was good.
Okay. All right. Given that, would anybody like to make a motion to present this, or to approve this on our behalf to send to the Board of Aldermen? Or do we need to table it to review it some more?
I'll make a motion to approve the pool contract.
Okay.
Oh, I second it.
All right, with the first and the second, given all this, any other discussion on the pool contract? Hearing none, all those in favor of presenting the contract to the Board of Aldermen with our approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then Mr. Fowler, as soon as you get any information on the dechlorination stuff, we'll be happy to hear it.
Okay.
So, all right, moving on to next item of new business is the Route 66 sign at Jensen's Point. Was included, the actual image, the rendering was included in the park board packet, last page. This was based on a request from Tourism Committee. They have gotten approval on a $15,000 grant to pay for about 3/4 or so of the cost. And the Tourism Committee, I guess, they haven't asked us for it, so I'm assuming that they're making up the difference on it. So the total for the sign was $19,200, and the grant was for $19,200, and the grant was for $15,000, for a difference of $4,200 before installation. The Tourism Committee did ask to have it installed at Jensen's Point, behind the parking lot in the grassy area, to the west of the bathrooms. In some discussions, there's concern of, that's not exactly the most accessible spot for everybody, and the lighting's not the greatest there. We have some parking lot lighting, but that's about it. So easy to miss. So, with that, what we can do is, go through, make a motion to approve it, and then we can discuss it further if everybody wants, or what would you like to do?
Where are the alternative locations for if it's not placed in that spot?
Right next to Red Cedar, in between Red Cedar and the Parks Building there in that grassy area.
Yeah, I think that would be the perfect place, because
I mean,
people can see it.
If they want it at Jensen Point, I have no problem with that, but that was one of my concerns is, you'll have no camera on it, the lighting is not, it's dark up there at night. If you ever want handicap accessibility to it, it's gonna cost you a lot to get handicap accessibility up
And
where
I-
that's gonna be. So, I mean, like I said, if that's where they want it, I'm not opposed to it, but I would think it'd suit better.
And I hate to say it, but somebody could go up there and vandalize it or something, at least if it would be down by Red Cedar, you know.
Yeah, it'd be better lighting and, I think there's a camera that points right there also.
Oh,
They were
well,
gonna
that
put
would-
it at Red Cedar, so.
Well, my opinion, I think that would be the best place.
So I think one thing that was discussed on that is there's already that big Route 66 sign there.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. So does it replace that sign or is it's just
No,
addition?
that sign's not going away. That's why I think they were trying to figure out a different place. Not that they didn't want it, I think they wanted it red, they'd love to have it at Red Cedar, but I think there's already a big sign there that people can park in front of and take pictures and that kind of stuff. Really limited on what we've got on Route 66 at this point.
And it's gotta stay in St. Louis County, it's correct. right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I mean, while I don't know that it would be super easy to see or take advantage of up at Blackburn, it could be interesting to have it posted up there, but if it's gotta be in St. Louis County,
It's gotta
Yeah.
be St. Louis County.
okay.
I mean, like I said, I'm not opposed, I mean, if that's where they want it, that's where they want it, I just,
If it was brought down closer to the parking lot rather than on the grassy part of the hillside, I mean,
it's a hill going down to the parking lot.
yeah, no.
You'd have to be in the parking lot to have a flat spot to put it.
I mean, if it just off the park, just to the north of the parking lot, I mean, just like right in front of it or something, 4 foot from it, or
You're talking
That'd be
in front of the
doable.
Between the parking lot and,
the hillside there. I know there's not much of a area there.
I don't think you'll have.
You have to
enough
dig it
area.
out and probably put in a retaining wall if you did
Yeah,
that.
that ain't, you don't just go in there and dig that out, you're talking breaking it out, and
Yeah.
it's all sandstone, yeah. Not saying it couldn't be done, but.
Right,
anything
but
can
now
be
your
done.
installation cost just went up quite a bit,
Right, right,
as we found out with the bathroom,
right,
so.
yeah, correct. And I don't know, like, on the front, the MoDOT right away, that's mostly MoDOT right away, if, you know, I'm pretty sure it is.
Mhm. And it can't be placed in that.
So it's like a big 3D sign without, and I guess those are like cutouts, people can like sit in
Sit
them
in
or
them,
climb in them or
take
something?
picture, yes.
Okay.
What a,
I was trying to pull up pictures of the area there at Jensen's Point to see.
well, that's what I was just looking at here. There's a little, and of course, I don't know if it's necessarily part of the park or not. There's a little grassy area between the parking lot and the dirt road on the east side.
To the right of the dirt road, is that where you're talking about there?
Yeah, in between the dirt, so the dirt road's here,
Mhm.
parking lot, this block right there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a big enough area, to be honest with you, for that sign.
Do you know how big it is? Like what the measures?
I don't remember.
I've-
I did have the measurements. 'cause
I've got it
Kelly
here, one
gave them to
second.
me.
I'm just gonna get to a different screen to get to it.
And you got that, you got right there where you're talking about, there's a pit right there now also,
Hmm,
where we got that, we built that little wall in front of that pit.
right. If I hadn't left my notes at the office, I'd have this out already. The concrete pad that would have to be poured around it has a width of 14 foot 6 inches, a depth of, depth of 4 foot, and the sign itself is 2 foot by 12 and a half foot. So we need at least an area, probably 15 by 5 minimum to actually put that in. So.
Mr. Fowler, do you know how much, how far the Red Cedar Lane goes down? There's a road before you get to it. Is there?
Before you get to Red Cedar,
Yeah.
it's
Show you what I'm talking about. I don't know if it's actually. gotta figure out where the sign goes, but. I wonder if that's on.
There's not enough property that the city owns.
Okay.
So for sure, yeah, for sure, there's not enough property.
Yeah.
What were you looking at?
Right there.
That's what I was just thinking.
But he's saying there's not.
There's not enough city property right there.
Right. Probably the same way over here even if we cleared out trees.
Okay, anyway.
How much of that property between the parking lot and the Wintech building do we have?
That's all city property.
Is it?
All the way from Red Cedar, all the way to Jensen Point, it's all
Okay.
city property.
Because there's a couple of tree lanes there. I don't know how that slope is.
Like this area right here, between the,
There's a power line cut in right there too, so you'd have to take that into consideration.
Yeah. But
I don't know
there's,
if you'd want to put it right near that, because if something ever happens, they gotta get in there or whatever, you know.
right. And you're also right next to the bathroom then too,
That,
Yeah.
so.
it's like, if we put it there, we could, but then you're just two signs next to each other.
Where the bathroom's at would've been perfect, but. Go there
It's in the
now.
parking lot too.
Right?
I would,
That would have been a perfect spot for it.
my personal feeling, I would rather have it down here than up there in the trees or somewhere.
So like where the parking lot is, this area here, is that like hilly? I guess that's like a,
This is a hill.
yeah, so like
Yeah, I
even
don't know
down
if you could
here.
get it down and stay off of MoDOT's right away. You know.
Oh, okay.
Another good spot would be up there by Bigfoot, but that's not in St. Louis County.
right. Yeah, I was gonna say there's about 1,000 other great places you could probably put it, but they wouldn't be in St. Louis County.
So it has to be in St. Louis County because the grant was,
I believe so, yeah. I mean, I wasn't involved in it, but I'm pretty sure that it has to stay in St. Louis County.
Do you know what the timing is on this one?
I wasn't involved in it at all.
Okay.
I'm sure they want to get it done before the centennial, for sure,
Yeah,
but.
but that's
I mean,
either-
Yeah, I know.
think the timing's way before
So,
that.
do you know how it was presented to you? Were they, I mean, if they were just asking,
I got it sent by an email.
okay,
That's
so I was
all
going
I
to say,
know.
if the ask was, can we put it at Jensen Point? Then it's a yes, no question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they may not be asking, where do you think we could put it?
Right.
Right. I think they've already got a plan where they want it if they put it there, you know.
The sign that currently sits at Big Cedar, was that like part of a grant that has to stay in St. Louis County as well?
Well, that sign
It's a pretty-
is, I think you say yes or no, and if you need to go offline and talk about it, look at it, about it, whatever, I don't know that you're going to figure anything out in this meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I
We're
think,
saying yes or no to what exactly? It's just the
To
approval
whether you put it
of
in
this-
Jensen Point.
If they
No,
want it.
it's already been approved. The board
Okay.
approved it's just a matter of where now,
yeah,
I see.
where to put it.
personally, I would see tabling it, that way we can actually go put eyes on it and see, and then we can readdress it at the next,
And
at our March
talk to
meeting.
Ms. O'Malley and find out what,
Yeah, get some more
Find out the
information.
Details of what.
Because, I mean, I'd love to see something like that, near the parking lot, that'd be great. But,
It definitely, near the parking lot in Jensen Point,
mhm.
yeah. I would have to agree, though, that it would make no sense to put it by Red Cedar, besides the fact that there's not going to probably even be any space there.
Mhm.
So then, whatever the additional cost would be to, so if we did put it at Jensen's Point, and there'd have to be rock broken out, or whatever, to put it where they're thinking, is
Where they're thinking, there wouldn't be no additional cost.
there wouldn't be. Okay, but we're just not sure about that because of the lack of lighting and,
Right, well, my only
Being
concerns
wheelchair
are just to
accessible.
let them know that, it's dark up there at night.
Right.
Where they're talking. There's no cameras on it. And if you ever wanted it handicap accessible,
Never gonna happen.
it could happen, but you'd be putting switchbacks to get up there to make it the right grade.
The two options, the bathroom being at the parking lot is a much better choice.
Agreed.
So, I mean, not that we have a choice to matter at this point, but bathroom's where it is.
No, that was my, and it's not that I don't want it there, I don't care, if that's where they want to put it, that's fine, I just wanted to make sure they were aware.
Who
they were aware.
decided, who decided at Jensen Point?
It's a tourism committee.
Oh, the tourism committee.
Is there availability if that's where it ended up being and it was decided that having some lighting on it would be good to make it, less likely to be vandalized, easier to take pictures and whatnot? Is the tourism committee willing, first of all, is there an ability to add some sort of lighting to it in that spot?
Sure.
And is the tourism committee,
But you also gotta remember that park closes a half an hour after dusk,
right?
so,
You'd only be lighting it up to stop vandalism.
right, that's,
Wouldn't be for anybody's access.
Right, okay. Is the tourism committee willing to pay for that then? To have the lighting? Like, would that be they pay for that, or does that mean the parks have to pay for that? To add lighting?
That's a whole other question that we'll have to have answered.
Because to me, if that's where they want to put it, and I don't think it would be a bad spot to put it, you're not going to have ADA accessible unless they, like Chris said, unless they put a serious, make some serious switchbacks or whatnot. But if that ends up being the best place to put it, and that's where they'd like to have it, and they want to make sure it's as protected from vandalism as possible, and they want to pay to, they being the tourism committee, want to afford the cost to light it, then I have no problem with that. But if it comes out of park budget, then I feel like that's a different.
Now, I know that the actual access to the park, or to the overlook, that's got a fence around it and that closes and all that stuff. But does the Pacific Police Department then enforce the parking lot and all that stuff too for closure?
I don't know that they so much did at first, but it's, now that the bathrooms are there, they kinda have to. I had to put signs up on the bathrooms because we had people staying in there.
Go figure.
Right.
Okay. All right. Is it something that we could split the time on that? We could have that part of the park open later versus the overlook?
That'd be something you guys would have to approve and send to the board, I guess.
Sure. Well, that's,
Honestly, the gates don't ever really get shut going up there, It's just closed a half an hour after dusk and it's ordinance, so they can give you a ticket for it.
gotcha. Okay. Any other thoughts on this?
So are you officially telling them no? Or yes? Or what are you doing?
I would like to get some more information first.
There you go.
So, I guess probably the best thing to do would be we can table this, and then we'll get the date and time of the next tourism board meeting, and a representative from the park board can go ask these questions and see if we can't get answers, and then we can make our decision at the March board meeting. Does that work? So with that, can I have a motion to table this?
I'll make a motion to table this topic.
I'll second it.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor of tabling this decision until March, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, the next question is, does somebody have the availability or the time to be able to go to, Mr. Cleve, do you know when the next tourism meeting is?
I don't off the top of my head.
Okay.
I can probably look it up.
That's what I was just gonna do, see if do they have their
It might be
timing?
tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
I really have no clue whatsoever.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look it up.
For some reason, that just popped in my head, though.
Right. Right.
1 second here, see if we can do a little research and find it.
Good evening, everybody.
Got a special board meeting cutting in all of a sudden, huh? Let's see. Park board, planning and zoning, special committee, tourism. So they just, their next board meeting is tomorrow
Oh,
at 3:30. That is not going to work. I cannot make that schedule work.
I can't either.
me neither.
So, what I can do is write an email tonight to Kelly O'Malley, asking these questions and see what she has to come back to say, because you're probably busy with your usual stuff.
Yeah, I won't be able to make that.
Yeah.
I got a doctor's meeting at 4 tomorrow, so.
Okay.
um,
Who's the board liaison for the tourism group?
Is it Debbie?
It's Debbie Kelly, yeah.
Okay.
Carla's history. I think that's right.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
A lot of Kellys in that group. Okay, I will send them an email then tonight and ask these questions, and then everybody can do their own reconnaissance on the park, and we will readdress then in March. If, unfortunately, Anne Marie couldn't be here, she's the one who's actually been working with the tourism group on this, so she probably could have answered some of these questions for us, so. Moving on to old business. So everybody got a copy tonight of the sheet of tasks that was presented via the Park Master Plan from 2019. I tried to go through this and the plan together. They also included all their survey notes and different things that were presented from different public participation moments. So what we've got in a section on citywide items and a small section at the back for Red Cedar. I would say we can go through every single one, but there's more than 160 different items. Doesn't seem like a prudent use of our time. A couple of things that I will note is several of the items that are complete. So just going through these at Adams Garden, first one is there was a suggestion to add a gazebo. That is complete. There's a couple of items here that I don't have an update on the status, not sure what, excuse me, what the status is of resetting the brick pavers.
That happens yearly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. It was an ongoing maintenance thing.
Yes.
There was a concern about an existing utility pipe that was in the park. Not
No,
sure what that
I'm not
was.
sure what that is. Only thing I could think of that was utility pole.
Okay,
It was mentioned at one time, removing it and putting utilities underground. But, yeah, that's all I can think, that's what that was supposed to be.
okay. All right.
The improving the parking lot, wasn't that part of the repaving that we did last?
Yeah, they had some notes about repaving, relocating, restriping, several other things. And so to kind of consolidate that, I just had improved parking lot, that's why it's noted as in process.
Okay,
It's been,
It's-
what, year before last, we resealed it and restriped it.
Yeah,
It's due again, but, yeah.
yeah, so that's just an ongoing maintenance item.
Right.
But as far as moving it and relaying it out, that's likely not going to be able to be
Right,
doable.
Where would you go with it?
Yeah.
Where would you-
is that what the intent was with that piece, was to actually change the parking lot altogether?
Yes,
Oh, okay, yeah,
yeah.
gotcha, okay.
I think there's the note here about the trailhead to Blackburn. I know that's been an item we've discussed several times. It would be a pretty steep trail up
I don't know
there.
if anybody's ever tried to walk that, but there ain't much walking it, it's more sliding it.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody at some point has done it.
From what I understand, back in many years ago, kids used to cut, there was a trail, kids cut through there. That's,
Well, now, where's that at? Where's that trail at?
it's not there no more.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was behind Adams Garden and went up to Blackburn.
Yep. A couple of these other things, the interpretive signage about the memorials and interpretive signage about the Sandstone Bluff. Those are items that I know have been discussed before. And the interpretive signage about the memorials, that's probably something that we need to work with the Adams Garden group on, more so than take it on our own.
Yes.
Since they are very protective, rightly so, of a lot of that. And then the interpretive signage about the Sandstone Bluff, I'd love to see something or some lighting against the bluff, that kind of stuff at some point.
Isn't there a sign on that bluff right there, facing the road that states about that bluff?
I know there's a sign that's like bolted to the sandstone itself, right on Osage.
Yes.
I've seen it, I know I've read it at one point or another.
Yeah, I have too, but
I don't recall what it says.
Exactly the wording, but
Yeah, so it's something that we can hide, we probably needs to be, if it's worth highlighting in any Route 66 material from coming from Centennial, but that's something that we can, again, work with Ms. O'Malley on, or the tourism department on. And then the interpretive sign about the Sandstone Bluff, that seems like a good opportunity also to work with either tourism or beautification to come up with something that, is unobtrusive, but gives some history. I know that one of the items that was recommended was talking about when that bluff was cut for the road and stuff, not only there, but there was, and then also down by Jensen's Point, so those for some reason are all listed under short-term. I'm not sure that those really fall under short-term items. Maybe less expensive items, but, and then I guess kind of incorporated with the interpretive signage about the Sandstone Bluff is to add the Route 66 information about, or, what was done to put Route 66 in there by Adams Garden. So it's kind of one and the same. Additional shade, repair, update the water feature, improve landscaping. That's stuff that I know, again, has kind of been discussed. We did add the gazebo, so additional shade is kind of even if it's necessary.
several years ago, I had in there I had in the budget to redo that waterfall because of the way it leaks and it didn't go through, so.
Yeah, I think eventually it's something that we could retackle, but
Back, yeah,
I remember that 3 or 4 years ago, I believe.
yeah. Something around there.
So I think that's something that we can work on towards in the future.
Do you know for the additional shade, like what the idea is for that, or where to put that?
My personal opinion, Adams Garden, there ain't much more room to put anything. You start adding
Yeah.
more, it's gonna start
Taken away.
looking.
Trying to
yeah.
envision it too. It seems like it is pretty shaded.
It
it's
stays shaded
kind of
in the
back.
back.
Yep.
Is there a lot that sets out? Because to me, it's just like the parking lot, and then
Yeah.
I'm
that's-
trying to envision it in
It's
my
not
mind.
much, but,
Mhm.
yeah, there's not much room for anything else.
Right, and then we have the gazebo now, so that people who wanted to come for remembrances or whatever, they have access to that. So I don't know that we need to do too much more at this point with shade or shade structures, so. So I would say we can take that one off the list. Add restroom, I know that's been a topic here and there. I don't know, that's still a little ways out, I think, as well, so. And then replacing the chain link fencing with the more aesthetic option. Yeah, I think that would be a great idea, but again, that's not gonna be a cheap item either.
Right, not at all.
So we can keep it on the list and then we'll address it again in the future. So, moving to Blackburn, like the enhance the scenic view, repair the green space, remove graffiti, that's just an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's much that we really necessarily need to tackle specifically on it. The Creative Nature Trail to Adams Garden goes back to the other topic. Add native plants, and that's something that kind of comes anyway. Landscape improvement to the bluff edge.
We've done a lot to that bluff. I mean,
Yeah,
from the time I took parts over, we've opened that up tremendously.
yeah, I knew there was a lot of cleanup and stuff along there, so I'm just gonna list that as ongoing. So what's the other three here? Improved direction signage getting in and out of the park. I know at one point we didn't even have a sign at the gate.
Right.
Do we have anything there now, or are we still?
There's a sign up above the street sign that says Blackburn Park.
Right, yeah.
That's about it.
So that's something that we could have addressed sooner rather than later.
Right, we would have to just find a place to put it,
Mhm.
at the bottom somewhere to.
And for that matter, the entrance signage, I know that there's a sign on Osage and there's a sign on First Street that both point to it, but that's pretty much it.
Yes.
So, and other than putting a giant sign up, on the bluff or on the street, I don't know if we could really do a lot
Where
more.
would you put it so it's more visible?
There's just no place to put it. Interpretive signage, I mean, there is some signage up at the top of the hill for, obviously, the Civil War battle with the cannons and everything else. I don't know much more than what they were originally thinking, or what more we could really do, but if we want to tackle that, that's something else that we could go meet with the Historical Society on, and maybe tourism, and see what we can collaborate on.
Yeah.
Let's see, other items on here, add a bathroom or portable bathroom. I don't know that there's a lot of room up there for that,
There's not,
so, I mean, I also haven't heard a lot of complaints either about it.
you can go right down to the bottom or.
A water fountain a drinking water fountain. I don't know that there's any way to get water up top of there as is.
There's not, you can't get no pressure up there.
Yep.
Because it's higher than the tanks.
Yep. So I'm gonna scratch that one from the list. Improve the picnic area. That's just, again, it's been ongoing, I believe. Reconfigure the parking lot. That was striping. I know that you guys did some work up there on that one a couple years ago as
Yeah,
well.
when they did that, it got restriped and, I mean, there really ain't, you can't put much of a parking lot up there anywhere, you
Mhm.
know? So the couple spots that there are room, they're marked now, so.
Okay. I'm just gonna mark that as a maintenance item then. Enlarged Memorial Plaza area. There's, again, not a lot of room for that, so. Replace the chain link fencing with a more aesthetic option. Yeah, that'd be great, but again, that's gonna be a pricey option to take care of, and, of course, then people wouldn't have a place to put their locks on, so.
Right.
So, and then the last one of note anyways, putting observation telescopes up there.
I just found out the other day that we apparently have one. Robert, I guess, came across it up there in one of his buildings and asked me if I knew we had it.
Well, I mean, if it's available. I mean, there's not a lot of room up there for more than one anyway,
Right, right.
so, put it up there.
Apparently, I talked to a couple people and they said it was up there at one point.
It wouldn't surprise me
and then
that
got
they may
taken
have.
down. I don't ever remember one being up there, but that's,
Mhm.
This is one of those things where you like put the quarter in and then you like look through it and it,
well, you don't put a quarter in this one, it's,
oh,
It's
okay.
probably, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I
it's,
think it is. I mean,
But I'm thinking of the right thing. It's like a,
Right,
you like have like
yeah.
the,
Right,
okay,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one available, that's just sitting in a
yeah,
warehouse
I haven't put my
somewhere.
eyes on it or nothing yet, but yeah, I just found that out the other day. I didn't even know we had one.
Well, if you wanna look
Maybe if
into
it was up
that,
there and they took it down, maybe it's broke, I don't know.
Right.
But
Well, do you want to investigate
Yeah, I'll
that?
have to look into that.
How much would one of them cost?
Couldn't tell you. But I say if we get one, we charge a quarter.
It'll pay us,
50 cents.
it'll
or,
pay off in 20 years, right? So, okay, well, if you want to take a look at that and see if that
Yeah.
telescope is actually available and if it's in working order, then from
Wow.
there, I would say, yeah, let's try and see if we can find a way to use it. Because, I mean, yeah, I agree, it'd be kind of fun to have something up there for that, especially during flooding, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next page is citywide stuff. This one here, this very top one, create a community center. That's been discussed several times, and as of right now, I just don't see how we can swing that one as a park board. The cost, the location, things like that, it's just, would be very difficult to find a place and find the funds to be able to do it. Add additional parks, park properties to underserved areas. That's also been discussed. You know, once you get past Adams Garden and over to Bigfoot Plaza, there's really no further parks on the east or the west side of town. So they're heavy concentration on the east side. So once you get to Lamar Parkway, the only thing you got is the Bigfoot Plaza. That's it.
And there's nothing across the highway, is
Mm-mm.
there? Yeah.
So, but in order to have additional parks, we either have to purchase property or be gifted property as part of a subdivision. And I'm willing to bet that most subdivision developers are not willing to just up and give it away when they can use that as a reason to sell their properties.
Right.
So that's something that, it was a plan recommendation, but again, until we get some of these other things taken care of, there's probably not much more we can really do on that at this time. Same with additional ball fields. We just really don't have good places to put additional ball fields. Basketball courts, kind of the same thing. You know, if we could put basketball courts in like the flood properties, it'd be one thing. But from everything that we know so far, we can't do that.
Right.
So, additional horseshoe pits, yeah, I'd love that. I play horseshoes, it's fun. Right now, we have 2 at City Park.
No, I mean,
Well,
there
they're-
used to be.
There, yeah, there used to be. There's still kind of some infrastructure there for them, but it's pretty much falling apart, so
Right, yeah, it
I don't think there's even stakes there for them,
was, no, it was, yeah.
so. But that being said, you know, but that's something that there's a desire for. Obviously, we can take a look at it again, and, I mean, couple of horseshoe pits someplace wouldn't be that big a deal to put in, but
Right.
it's more the maintenance on them and safety of them, so.
Right. Yeah, I know at one, was it last year or year before, I put in for the bag toss, because you can actually buy them in a concrete structure
Mhm.
and put them in, and you can't take them, you know, they're there
Right.
forever, but,
Yeah.
yeah, that never happened either,
Okay. Boat ramp, don't see that happening until we have riverfront the riverfront park
but, yeah.
up and established and,
So we have a bridge.
yeah. So. And some of these other things, a lot of these other ones here, the children and youth camps, the environmental education, the farmer's market, painting and drawing classes, the training and certification and education classes, walking and hiking group, wellness programs, yoga and Zumba classes. Yeah, they're also great ideas, but as a city, we're not able to run those kind of programs right now. So if there's citizens who'd love to do that, I mean, we do there was the F3 group that used City Park. That's an option. Let's see. Utilize Congress Street greenways. I would love to see some options for that, but again, those are not great properties for much. You know, there's a little bit of a bigger area right there just off of the Comfort Inn parking lot. But I don't know there's no parking.
Yeah, there's
It's
no,
not really like a
there's-
flat,
No,
from,
No.
it kind of is like
It
a
is.
ravine almost.
It is, it's drainage,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
drainage.
yes.
So, and it's not level or flat or pretty drainage either,
No.
so. Okay. Then the sculpture park is part of the trail system. Again, yeah, that's a potential option someday, but that's more in conjunction with a art group or tourism or something like that, so.
Is improved pedestrian safety at railroad crossings something that is even, like, is there anything that we can do, the park board can do about that? Would that be like wouldn't you have to involve like the railroad?
Part of it, you would have to involve the city as well. The only real way that we're gonna have any say over that whatsoever is if it is a designated trail route,
Okay,
whether it be bicycle or hiking,
okay.
so. And even that, I don't know how much we could really accomplish, other than, some ornamental barriers and signage, so. Any other questions on the citywide stuff? All right, moving on to community park. So there's a bunch at the bottom, they're already complete. We have the softball, baseball, softball field, access pass, those are done. The baseball, softball field drainage repair is done. Disc golf park is done. The dog park paved access is complete. The dog park seating, that's an ongoing thing, but there's been several added. There was a note to move the soccer fields from community park to eliminate the overlap. That's complete. To repair and install a multi-use racket court, that's complete. And the parking lot improvements, partially complete, but a lot of that we won't be able to do too much more until we are done with the skate park and pool.
Decide what we're gonna do about that. yeah.
Yep, because we don't want to pay a ton of money for street and parking lot repair when we're going to tear it up with equipment, so. Other items, so several of them are in process or are just ongoing maintenance, like the restroom situation, landscape to stormwater stuff, more trees, remove invasive species in the creek, enhance the pond with native plantings, but we can't really do anything with the pond right now anyway, because, well, it's being tore up and dug out, so. Baseball, updated backstops and dugouts, that's something that I know, Chris, you've been working on for a
The
while.
only thing that's not been updated, I've got the wings and the dugouts are done, it's the backstop itself, which is
Right.
the most expensive part. And I'll put that in the budget again this year.
Okay. So the dugouts are complete. I will mark that so. Adding some additional shade in the baseball area and dog park area. That's something that we can be looking into at some point, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Canopies or something like that.
that's the
would
best
be
I can figure be the sales.
Yeah.
Of course, better pool or renovating pool and a splash pad, obviously those are future things. Sand volleyball courts are on hold at this time. Better lighting, been discussed, and then improved
Speaking of
safety.
better lighting, I heard you mention something the other day.
I asked if a PO was
I
done.
ordered one of them, the top part of the light came in, the pole and the mounting bracket's 4 to 6 weeks out,
Okay.
so.
Okay. And then improved security measures is an ongoing thing as well, so. Any other questions? Well, there's a second page, community park. Additional ones that are complete, the pavilion repairs and enhancements, removed the unsafe playground equipment, repaired the tennis court, the small dog park creation, just kind of shows how old this list is, and then a year-round restroom facility. So that's also been completed. Building a
Year-round
Rex,
facility is not.
okay, this is still on.
I put that in the budget every year also, but.
Okay, I'll change that to ongoing, or in process rather, and see. Process, okay. Build a rec center, again, we kind of discussed that already. And there was a suggestion to move the dog park to Liberty Field. At this point, that's not gonna happen, so
Right.
it's marked as a can't do. A couple other items that were discussed in there is a skate park, well, we all know where we're at on that one. Building an amphitheater. I'm not quite sure where that would go.
You know, there was some plans that were found the other day from '70s, and there was one in there.
Really?
Wow.
A plan for one, or there was one?
There was a plan, the plans for the city park, and there was, in them plans was one.
Where at?
You know where the, I don't know what that was for. I was told that they played roller hockey on that little asphalt pad that's there behind where behind where the basketball courts are at. There's a
Okay.
blacktop.
Yeah.
It's right in there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a very weird spot for amphitheater.
Right.
Well, I mean, a lot was changed since then too. you know.
Sure. Well, if it was from the 70s, the pool may not have exactly been,
The pool was, that was what we were looking for.
yeah.
And that's how.
Okay. So honestly, an amphitheater, I'm going to call that as a not doable at City Park. So, bike riding area, that's kind of the whole park. Community garden, there's really not a good spot for that. I think we could,
Where you put it, you know.
yeah, I mean, if we needed a community garden, because, one of the churches runs one downtown. If we needed another one, we could potentially look at something, around Liberty Field and some of that other property, but even that is kind of questionable.
Well, they had it over by Liberty Field.
Mhm.
You had to take it out.
You had to take it out.
It was a flood buyout lot or something. that
Yeah,
was-
yeah, I mean, and it was over there for several years, and then all of a sudden, they had to move it. So they moved it over to the Pacific, the Methodist Church.
Yep.
So they've got it over there, and I don't know, one of the little sheds that was over there,
Yeah, we
the
moved it.
maintenance guys moved it
Yeah, we
over
moved-
there.
We moved that over there.
So we've got it over there.
One of the items on here was consider rotating the benches to face the park, not the street. I don't know how critical the item that is.
Yeah, I don't know, benches that they're talking about is.
They're all concreted in, and,
If you take them out, they're not worth putting back in.
No.
They're being replaced, you know.
yeah. Let's see, dog training agility classes, again, that goes back to, that can be done on, an outside group can handle that. Enable fishing at Hawthorne Pond. Well, let's get the pond finished first. Fitness stations, hammocks and hammock stands. I've actually, found, my daughter goes to Missouri State, and on campus, they have stands all over the place that you hook your own hammocks into. Something like that I could see, but I would also be worried about who would end up using them and what would they be used for.
Right.
So, because, we're already have issues with all-night visitors, and don't need to encourage that, but something that, if there was a desire for it, I don't think they're terribly expensive, and they could be implemented without too much trouble.
Mr. Shecker, you
Yes,
should,
sir.
on the fishing at Hawthorne Pond, you should nix that, because it's a runoff pond. If people fish in there, someone's gonna be stupid and eat. and-
So, back from 2011 to 2015, we actually had fishing derbies there.
Yeah.
And that was sponsored by the city. We would stock it, and there'd be fishing derby, but there were signs up, do not eat. So, catch and release only.
Is what about the pond over there on Liberty Field? Is it a runoff pond, or is it,
It's got runoff that goes in.
does it too?
Yep.
Do people eat fish
Not
out
near
there?
as much as Hawthorne at all, but,
Do people eat fish out of Liberty Pond?
I've never seen anybody keep the fish out of there, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, it just need, if we were to end up doing this, it would have to be signed as catch and release only.
So it's not, Hawthorne Pond is not like part of that neighborhood? It's not like a HOA
No,
protected?
no, there is no
Okay.
HOA in Hawthorne. I live there.
Oh,
No,
okay.
actually, I
Okay.
live next to the pond.
Yeah,
It's been great the last 8 years.
okay.
So,
Gotcha.
but I used to fish there all the time. I get home from work, went over there for half an hour and throw a line in. I'd catch bluegill, bass. They weren't terribly large, but I'd catch stuff out of there up until 2015. When that flood came through, we just wiped all it out. So, I do hear from neighbors about, a desire to be able to fish in there again. So, it would be nice, but I wholeheartedly agree that,
It'd have to be signed heavily.
Yeah.
Just open the city up for
exactly.
something bad.
Yep. Last ones on here are music concerts, tree science, and swim classes. there's nothing stopping us from having concerts in the park. We've had church groups do stuff in the past underneath the pavilions. There's no reason why we couldn't have that. I mean, to have a full-blown concert in there, it would require a bandstand trailer and all that stuff. So. And then swim classes, that's up to the pool group. Moving on to Jensen's Point is, the two complete items are add a restroom that blends the park. That's been done, looks great. And then add Route 66 info to Jensen's Point. We've got some signage out front. I don't know much more we can really do right now, and other than maybe potentially adding this other sign. Items in process, remove graffiti, that's just an ongoing thing. Repair, replace, repaint handrail, again, it's just a maintenance item. Park safety improvements, I think that's mostly to do with the steps, but the steps are original for the most part, and I don't know what you can do with them.
I've had a lot of people come to me about them and ask how we can make them more even and more flat, and I'm like, well, or new steps if you want to, but
Yeah.
then you lost it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Repair walls, that's kind of an ongoing thing. Security lighting and cameras, that's actually complete, isn't it?
Yes, there's cameras up top.
Repair, replace pavement, in the parking lot's the only place that we'd have that, and that's been
They're in good
done.
shape.
Yeah, that was just repaved a couple of years ago, 5 years ago.
5 years ago, more like,
Yeah. Improve the stairs pavilion, again, that's just, they are what they are for the most part. Add a shade or pavilion to lower level. I mean, I'd love to see that. I don't know where we put one right now, but something that we could obviously, put in future plans.
Yeah, it was talked about quite a while ago, to put a pavilion up top, where they're talking about putting that sign up there.
Yeah. The next two were kind of identical. Add screening plantings at the back to block the view of the mine and work with US Silica on redevelopment of the mined areas. I mean, that's something that's an overtime thing, I think, more than anything. It also depends on what we plan on, if we plan on doing anything further on the back of the park with any kind of accessibility or
Right.
road or path or anything like that, so. Add trail connection to other parks, that's just, once we can focus on the city trail system, that's something that can be done. Same way with the path to connect to Red Cedar, it's already got the sidewalk, so I don't know if we need more than that right now. Add accessible pathways, lower level, we now have sidewalks, that shouldn't be a problem. Getting up to the top, that's gonna be a tall order to add those. And then add a small playground and add additional signage, so that's a small park, I don't know how we can put a playground there.
Again, they're gonna be up at top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna haul a 5-year-old up there for him to play on a play set, so.
Yeah, wouldn't either.
Okay, any other questions or comments on Jensen's Point? Move on to Liberty Field. This is the last page here. So, completed are the accessible pathways. That was to the pavilion and the rodeo arena and other places. Enable fishing at Liberty Field, which we've got. Integrate the city-owned parcel directly north of the gravel parking lot. That's been taken care of. Add the recreation pond. Repair, replace concrete walkways, and utilize drainage ditches as bioswales and landscaping. So all that stuff's been, for the most part, completed. Other items, add a playground. I know it's been an item discussion for a number of years. That's a potential, item to do. Add some additional covered eating areas near the concession stand. Again, that would probably be more, a place to start would be the sales and
Right.
that kind of stuff that's removable. Same with adding a picnic or barbecue area. Improve the pavilion there. I'm not sure, I haven't been out to that pavilion in a couple of years. I know there's been a lot of work done for the electrical there.
All the electric for that side's all mounted on that
Yeah, I know.
pavilion, yeah.
But the pavilion itself, I think, was in
Yeah.
decent. Add benches along the trail. That's something that probably should be added at some point, but there's also another item down here about widening those trails to a 10-foot width and repaving or Add lighting to the fields, we've been in talks with the PSA about that. I don't know if we're gonna be able to make too much headway on that time being. Same with add seating to fields, any kind of seating or whatever, it's probably gonna have to be portable, or at least something that can be removed in relatively short order. River access and trail access to Riverside Park property, again, that's a very long-term item right now. Pave the gravel parking lot, honestly, I don't know that's an item that we need to do.
I would love to see it paved.
I'm sure. But, I think there are groups that use it right now as is.
Yeah, a lot of kids doing donuts and.
Well,
you have to
there is that.
really Smooth it, yeah.
But I mean, paving that's gonna take a pretty hefty
Yeah, I mean,
outlay.
it is what it is at this point, yeah.
So, I mean, maybe, as a long-term item, we can look into that. Improve the seating at the rodeo arena. I think that's something that just kind of happens throughout, at the rodeo time. Do we really need to do much more with that right now?
Yeah, there was talk, I think got bids, didn't they? Do you remember that, James, about getting bids about seating around the arena right before this last rodeo? That was one of Kelly's
Well,
things.
one of the things we had talked about was the cost of renting was so high that it's like, okay, rent a few less and put that money towards new, or, to installing them, but, and buying them, but it's cost prohibitive either way you look at it.
Yeah, I know they got bids because I had to meet Kelly down there with the guy to
Mhm.
do some measuring and I don't know, whatever.
Right. So, something that we can take a deeper dive into in the future. Add an entrance off Olive Street. I know that's been discussed. Right now, that would mean cutting through that gravel, or not the gravel area, but that
The
pond
field.
property too. So I know,
When that was discussed, that pond wasn't there.
yeah, but don't they also do some overflow parking there for the rodeo? Or the performers parking there or something?
Cowboys,
Yeah,
mhm,
and it's not
when it's not.
underwater.
Yeah, when it's not muddy, yeah.
So, okay, so I don't know that adding entrance off Olive Street is worthwhile. So we can scratch that one from the list. You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So nix that one. And then, last couple items, park signage update. I know you put new signs up on the snack bar. Is there other signage that we need to be thinking about?
Not that I can think of.
There's not a sign like at the park entrance, is there, that says Liberty Field or like, the community park, how there's the sign when you
Yes,
drive in?
there's one,
Yeah.
on the one side.
There is?
Yeah, not on both sides.
And it's also, when you go, I don't know what street that is.
The one by like I'm thinking of the entrance by the landscape.
Solid?
Yes.
No.
No, there's
other
no
entrance
sign
has
there.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go in past the recycling center, there's a brick sign there with the
Okay.
flagpoles and stuff.
I don't know that I've ever been, do you have to drive kind of like through I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's-
the-
there's-
you, like,
it's
drive
street
through
access.
buildings,
Yeah, you gotta-
kind of,
there's
like
a street
buildings
there.
on either
Yeah,
side
yeah.
and then, okay.
Well, now, is there a sign right there on First Street saying Liberty Park or Liberty Field? So they know, because it's back.
There's the blue sign on top of,
The main entrance, it doesn't feel, whereas you see, you know what I'm talking, what I'm saying, like, whereas the other one just seems like more open and that's where you see it. Feels like it would be good to have something like that,
Yeah. Something that can be,
just to that way,
yeah,
right?
there's another street sign at that corner that I believe has an arrow that says Liberty Field with the left turn.
it's not there right now, it got ran over here recently, but yeah.
Yeah. So, and then there's also signage on the concession stand as well, it says Liberty Field. So, but to your point, I agree that the other entrance is kind of bland and doesn't have a lot to it, but something that, we can plan for. Soccer field improvements, I think that's currently ongoing, that's working with the PSA again. Camping opportunities we've talked about. then reforest the flood areas as possible. That one's gonna be questionable as far as feasibility based on the flood buyout requirements and stuff. I mean, at that point, Liberty Field was mostly purchased with grants. It wasn't necessarily purchased because of flood buyouts, but, I don't know, there's really a lot of areas to reforest. So, frankly, I'm gonna scratch that one off anyway. Adding a splash pad, maybe someday. Don't know that's gonna happen anytime soon.
Right.
Is that doable with being in the flood area?
I mean, everything's doable, but
Okay, but as far as like any structures or whatever, it wouldn't be,
it'd be no different than the concession stand, have to
Okay.
be washed through, type of construction,
okay.
or we'd want it to be. All the pumps and stuff we'd want them elevated and, everything as much as possible. Because just even the flood we had this past year, we had, what, a foot or two covering the entire property?
The bathrooms only had about 4, 6 inches maybe.
Okay.
If that.
Right. 2015,
Bathrooms are a lot higher than everything else. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't appear that way, but they are.
yeah. But in 2015, 2017, it was
Oh, yeah.
it was way up,
Mhm.
so. So we need to plan for a 2017 style flood on any kind of building or equipment down there. Adding a stage or performance area, we've got power in multiple spots. Frankly, if somebody wants to do a concert down there, they can either do it in the arena if it's not terribly muddy, or would it have to be on a bandstand stage anyway, or a bandstand type trailer, so it can be put in pretty much anywhere. And the last one here is Pacific Eureka Trail connection with Red Cedar. That's been discussed, but until the trail system throughout the city is is marked and everything else, I don't know there's much we can really do with it right now, so.
Well, and can we add the veterans plaques too on there?
As far as for repair and
Yeah.
replace,
If they need to be repaired or,
Replace.
yep. Okay. So this was everything that was in the report. I would say, take a look at this in before next meeting. If there, Chris, if you want to look at it as well, and if there's anything anything further that we just can't do at all,
Right.
or anything that's just way beyond what's capable right now, let's get those marked and moved off the list. Anything that's, in process or complete, that's not already marked, so let's get that marked. And that way, we can use this as kind of some planning stuff for the next couple of years.
Okay.
Then everybody else can take a look at it, see if there's anything that strikes your fancy that you want to make sure it starts getting noted in budget requests and get it approved. So, any questions or comments on this? Mr. Cleve, anything on your end?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, that was that. I knew that was gonna take a little time, so. Moving on to the next item of old business is Liberty Field camping and camper policy creation. I have not had a chance to dig into that. Has anybody else had that? No? Okay. All right, we will table that then till the next meeting. Next one, disc golf reservation form and costs. So Mr. Fowler has added the disc golf course as a park rental on the form, and has suggested a $40 resident, $80 non-resident fee. Is that for all day or half day, or do we need to? Just like everything else? Okay. I do believe, based on the research I've done, that is in line with a lot of the other parks in the area, so I don't think that we're out of bounds by any means. And discussing it with Greg, with the disc golf people that have been doing the volunteer work down there, that was in the neighborhood of what he suggested as well. So, what I'd like to see is a motion to approve, and then we can discuss further.
I'll make a motion to approve the, that rate for resident versus non-resident and the addition of it to the park rental application.
I second it.
Okay? Any discussion?
Mr. Cleve, you have to take that to the park board, or to the board.
That's what I'm
correct?
Yep.
typing a note right now.
As soon as we approve it anyway, yes.
The one thing I'll say is you need to have some signage somewhere in the park that says, like in the front of the park, whether it's open, closed, reserved, whatever, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
there will be, there's a kiosk back there that we built right before you cross the bridge. That's where I was gonna put them on that kiosk.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? Everybody's good on the rates? Everybody- Okay, all right, given that, all those in favor of approving a $40 resident, $80 non-resident rental application to send to the Board of Aldermen, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay. And then, I guess with that, it's also just, as Mr. Fowler has done here, just adding it to the list of the rental applications, so should be good there. Okay. Moving on, Park Superintendent Report. Mr. Fowler, anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to cover tonight?
I think we've covered everything. I've got the flagpole that we've had for, I don't know how long, that goes at Jensen Point. I got it back at our building, trying to buff it out, make it look a little better.
Okay,
All the, I'll say accessories to it, the pulleys, the ropes and all that, they say came with it. If it did,
no clue.
great. So I did fill out a PO and put it in Heather's box. I don't know if she's had a chance to even look at it, to purchase all the stuff that needs to go with it.
Do you know how much that was? Approximately?
I wanna say it was 1,300 and some change.
Okay.
Now, is it going to be right up there on top, or is it going to be down?
It's gonna be on the, well, on the middle level, I guess you would say,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay. And you have the pad's complete, ready to go now? Or are you still?
It's got a 6-foot pedestal that it sets on, that's all done,
Okay.
complete.
And they're confident it's gonna be, it won't be a problem?
The engineer from the flag company said that's what you used, so that's what we used.
Okay. All right. And then you probably haven't purchased a flag yet for that.
Yeah, I haven't purchased the flag for it yet, yeah, that's,
I know that's,
I did that once.
when the Board of Aldermen approved the purchase back a couple years ago, it was a 48-star
48 star
flag.
flag, yeah.
48-star flag, yeah. Okay. All right, and then I guess the city have access to a bucket truck to be able to lift that and get it set in place, or do you have to hire somebody?
We're gonna do it,
Okay,
yeah, we should be able to do it with ours. Yeah.
good,
It's actually, the pole folds down.
right,
You know, the
It's
only
pinned
thing
and
is,
stuff.
you really can't per se fold it down now that you got it on a 6-foot pedestal, you have to set it on something, you know?
yeah,
But yeah, before, when we take it up there, hopefully we can have everything ready and just bolt it on and stand it up.
okay. All right. You have an idea of time frame?
No, like I said, I put that purchase order in hers, I gotta wait and see if, and then I don't know how long it'll take to get all the parts.
Okay, so you're probably looking at late spring at the earliest then?
Yeah. I mean,
Or in the
shouldn't be a-
summer?
I don't see it being a real big deal as long as everything lines up like it should.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, well, that'll be exciting to see that in place. Anything else for us?
That's all I got.
Okay. Moving on to Park Liaison Report, Mr. Cleve. Anything on your end?
Not from the board. I was gonna just tell you guys, skate park committee continues to meet. Trying to figure out exactly which design firm and or contractor to go with to do the actual build. And they're making headway towards it.
How long will it take to get it all built and everything?
The skate park? I think that was October of 26.
Six is the deadline.
Yeah.
We have to be done by then
Oh,
for the grant. It's got to be complete. So in looking at everything, I mean, most likely they won't be able to do a whole lot with it this year, even getting everything lined up and contractually get everything set. Just with scheduling and other work they've got, I can't imagine they would start this year. It'll probably be a first thing in '26, as soon as the weather clears up, would be my opinion.
Okay. All right, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Moving on to miscellaneous. So tonight, he's been pretty quiet over there, but we do officially have a 7-person board again with the appointment and approval of Mr. Doug Spittler. So welcome to the board. Look forward to having you here. Thank goodness you're here tonight because we had a late call in sick. So if this was last month, we would have had to cancel our meeting. So other than that, I really don't have anything else under miscellaneous. Anybody else have anything to bring up at this point? Okay. Moving on, our next meeting is currently scheduled for March 10th. That is the second Monday in March, just in time for March Madness. So hope everybody has a good time with that.
And I will be out of town then, so I won't be here. I'll try to find a fill-in for me to take good notes.
Okay. Noted. All right. At this point, I'll accept the motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right. Hearing no discussion, everybody have a good night. Thank you very much. One thing you did miss, James, there was a group that came in, there are 2 ladies that wanted to do a horse,
Oh, you're talking about him?
a horse chiropractic clinic at Liberty Field.
Okay.
Couple times. It'd be a for-profit thing, so you can't approve a waiver of the application fee or the